Alright, so in today's video, I want to talk about the Phoenix Suns, not only because they are tied with the Lakers currently for the number one spot in the Western Conference with a 7-3 record, but I wanted to give some light to the rest of this Suns roster because obviously they made the big trade to get CP3 in the offseason. They still have Devin Booker, who's looking like he's going to be an All-NBA player for quite a few years down the line, and just overall the team is playing very well, but I'm here to say that it's not just Devin Booker and Chris Paul that are making this team so good. It's a few guys who are in the rotation, maybe even come off the bench, that are really pushing past the expectations that everyone had for this Phoenix roster before the season started. And the two specific guys that I really wanted to highlight in this video are the young wings on this Phoenix Suns roster, and those are Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson. Funny enough, if you go back to both of their draft days, Mikal Bridges came over in a trade with the Sixers, which a lot of people question in terms of what these Suns are doing. And then when you go back and look at Cameron Johnson's draft selection, he was also questioned by the mass media when the Suns selected him. And it's just ironic that these are now both guys who are helping lead this new Suns roster. Well, I don't say lead, but they're having a big hand in helping this Suns roster become what it is today. I don't think it'd be too much of a stretch to say that Mikal Bridges so far has been the Suns MVP this season. Even though Devin Booker, he's averaging more points per game, he's probably doing a little bit more for the team. It's been Mikal Bridges who, like I said, has really been elevating this team to a next tier up. For Mikal Bridges, his most notable game of the season was last night, actually, when they faced the Indiana Pacers. He scored a career-high 34 points, and it goes past that, though. All season, he's been an elite spot-up shooter, shooting 46% from beyond the arc, while he's also providing some very high-level defense in which he's able to lock down a lot of opposing teams' best scorers. And then off the bench, you have Cam Johnson, who's essentially just a year younger version of Mikal Bridges, where he comes into the game, he's an elite spot-up shooter, he's also shooting over 40% from the three-point line on the season, and he's also able to just provide some really solid defense for the Phoenix Suns. And so far, although it's only been about 10 games into the season for most teams, I feel pretty confident in saying that Cameron Johnson could easily be a top 3 6th man of the year candidate by the end of the year, as long as he's actually able to get some more minutes as the season goes on. Right now he's sitting at 23 minutes per game, whereas I would personally like to see him get into the high 20s, maybe even the 30s by the end of the season, who knows. Not only do these two players serve as a really good stagger for the Phoenix Suns, where you can always have one of them on the court at the same time, but they get even more effective when you play them on the court at the same time, as it's just two wings who are great 3-and-D options, and you pair that with one of Chris Paul or Devin Booker, and then you throw a DeAndre Ayton or a Dario Saric in there, and that's what's been making the Suns team so difficult to beat. Having elite spot-up shooters to pair with great scorers in isolation and pick-and-roll ball handler players like Devin Booker and Chris Paul, and then just the cherry on top is having a great pick-and-roll setter in DeAndre Ayton and someone who can also just rebound and play great defense. It just makes it so much easier for the Phoenix Suns star players. And on the defensive end, it's no shock that both Chris Paul and Devin Booker aren't the greatest defenders. So again, like I said, you have DeAndre Ayton in the paint, who has made great progress as being a defender in the NBA, something that isn't really talked about enough in my opinion, as he came into the league to be an offensive talent, but has quickly done a complete 180 almost, in that he is now one of the better defensive bigs in the league. And then again, just going back to tying in these young wings in Bridges and Johnson, Mikal Bridges has been locking down players since the bubble when he really had his breakout time. And then Cam Johnson right now is sitting at 5th in the entire NBA for qualified players for defensive rating. So the numbers back it up, the tape backs it up if you watch any Suns game. And yeah, those two guys, those two wings are playing a big role in how the Suns right now are sitting at the top of the Western Conference with the Los Angeles Lakers. And again, I really wouldn't be surprised at the end of the year if we see Cam Johnson ending up as a finalist for the 6th Man of the Year award. And as for Mikal Bridges, it wouldn't surprise me if he's a finalist for the Most Improved Player of the Year award too. So both these guys are just making great leaps at the right time for the Suns team that is looking like just every game they play, they just look more and more ready to be a finalist contender in this NBA. And I'm here for it. We always love to see a nice startup team that gets it done through the draft. Obviously, Devin Booker has been through some tough years. He's finally getting some talent around him. They trade for CP3. All the pieces are coming together for this Phoenix team. And again, it's in big part due to the work of both Cam Johnson and Mikal Bridges, not just Devin Booker and Chris Paul. And that'll do it for this video. Drop your comments down below with your opinions on this young duo out in Phoenix. Outside of that, leave a like if you enjoyed this video or enjoy this type of NBA content. And as always, most importantly, thank you for watching.